election, our candidates are going to run on the advantage that Obamacare will be going into the 2014 election, because the choice will be very clear.
There we go, Miss Wasserman-Schultz. Welcome back. I'm Anne-Marie Murrell, filling in for Rick Amato. Over the holiday weekend, the Obama administration was encouraging senators and the media to push only positive messages about the Affordable Care Act. One supposedly nonpartisan group, Families USA, was reportedly paid $1 million to find and promote Obamacare success stories. Of course, one story the Democrats didn't want anyone mentioning over their turkey and stuffing was about a 7-year-old cancer patient in Texas who lost his health care plan mid-treatment. And still, throughout all of the highs and lows of the website and the Health Care Act itself, it's a one glaring lie remains. If you like your plan, you can keep your plan. Well, not so much, whether you like it or not. Here to weigh in on this is our grassroots citizen panel. And seated next to me is Ernie White with Citizens Against Agenda 21. Doug Sain. He is the executive producer of the blockbuster movie 2016, Obama's America. And Mychal Wilson, you are an entertainment attorney, and you're also, I just found this out, you're also a fraud attorney, a whistleblower. So
correct. Quitom, as we say, yeah.
Quitom, yeah. Which I said, I don't know what that means, so I'm not going to mention that.
Yes.
But there you go. Okay, I want to start with you, Ernie. Okay, if the United States had such horrible health care that we had to throw away the whole entire thing, why have so many people across the whole entire universe been flocking to America to receive healthcare treatment?
Well, I think most of the people that are actually coming to this country don't realize that we're actually starting to lose all of our freedom. I mean, we've actually started to give it back. So with this healthcare plan that we have now, we're losing all of our freedom. It's got 2,000 pages of nothing more than freedom loss in it. And the people that are coming to this country, especially those that are, trying to flock here with any means necessary, they're coming here not understanding that we had a free country, and no longer are we free. We're not free with property rights. We're not free now with our health care. We're not free in any imaginable terms. And we have nobody helping us. The Democrats are not helping us. The Republicans are standing quiet. They're not helping us. It's going to be a grassroots fight for the people to take their country back.
All right, well, 52 million people are scheduled to lose their plans. I think all of us will agree. I think we can all agree. We needed healthcare reform. There were people who weren't able to get healthcare, the pre-existing condition people. But was it a wise decision, Mychal Wilson, to, instead of reforming the parts that we needed reforming, instead to throw away the whole entire thing, instead of reforming the part that we needed?
Overall, I think it was a wise decision. Ernie's referring to this flock of people coming to the U.S. for healthcare, but really, I mean, you're talking about this. Okay, Obamacare. We're targeting patients who already have a pre-existing condition. Okay, that means someone who has a prior heart attack, a prior stroke, and they can't get healthcare. Okay,
right. But why didn't we make the reforms to help those people instead of getting rid of all the people who were perfectly happy with the healthcare plans they had? Why not just reform it
because the system itself was broken. Okay, it has been broken. You can go. I'm also the healthcare fraud attorney. So the reason why I say it's broke is because look at some of these large whistleblower cases in the healthcare fraud. I mean, J&J just paid $2 billion for fraud. Okay, these are patients who are not getting the proper care. They're being prescribed medicines that are off-label. They shouldn't be. Have their kids on this type of medicine.
Do you believe with Obamacare there's not going to be any more fraud anymore?
No, I think of course. Okay,
you're not going to have doctors cheating. You believe that with 2,000 pages of Obamacare and the IRS actually being in charge of Obamacare, we're going to be better off?
So this is what I'm saying here. There's always going to be fraud. Okay, it's a cost of doing business in the healthcare industry. But what Obama's doing is he's enabling patients, people, or citizens who can't afford healthcare coverage.
Well, I think he's right. You're going to have an explosion in fraud because now we put the government in charge of managing the system rather than individuals. And we know that when the individuals are taken out of the loop, fraud explodes.
Okay, well, California right now, they are one of the #1 providers in Medicaid. I want to talk about
it's a small
one
nation,
doctor.
California, in terms of patient lives.
Okay, but there's one doctor in particular. This is a perfect example. Dr. Hector Flores. He's in East LA. He has 26,000 patients. He said he can take on another 1,000, but he's scheduled to take on another 10,000 under Obamacare. Doug, how is this sustainable?
It's not sustainable, and we knew that from the beginning, and that's why Obama had to sell this on really a lot of dishonest facts. He said that it would reduce costs, and instead, I know personally for my family, we went from $480 to $960. I mean, come on, that's outrageous.
But that's better for you.
It's not better for me, because what Obamacare is saying is we all need to buy Cadillac insurance, even though we may not need it or choose to want to have it. And we'll have to pay the substantially higher costs so that we can then subsidize people who hadn't been accessing the system the way they could have, because we know even in California that many families could have accessed Medi-Cal but weren't choosing to, and we don't know really why that is. But now we're going into it saying, well, we need to explode the cost of health care so that we can force the youth or those who don't really need the service into the system, and that'll cover the cost for everyone else. But but the law says you don't really have to have it. You can pay a fine and you can get out of the system, and then only when you need it you can access it. So it's going to be a complete disaster. We've already seen he sold it on being revenue neutral, and within a year it's at $700 billion. Now the projection from the GAO is it's over $6 trillion deficit on the way. We're seeing people losing their health care. We're seeing now we're admitting that there's death panels on the way. I mean, where does it end?
But even just cutting it down to the basics, if we're going to have a shortage of doctors, we won't have enough doctors to provide help for all these people. And Lord help us if amnesty is granted, when that door is open. How do we sustain? How do we keep our country going on something this monstrous?
I believe we don't. I believe we don't. I believe that this system is being imposed on us. I believe that you're going to see us turning into like a third world type nation type system.
That's ridiculous, Ernie.
How can that be ridiculous? How can that be ridiculous?
You know how we're going to sustain it?
How are you going to pay?
You know how we're going to sustain
that?
We are going to stay. We've been at war since 2002, 2001. We're going to stay in wars. We're going to stay in Afghanistan.
Obama just dragged us into
that's how we're going to go.
Obama has dragged us into
$1 trillion deficits are never going to end.
Afghanistan?
$1 trillion deficits are never going to end.
Afghanistan.
That's what we just heard.
We're not
it's going to be all trillions. Trillions of deficits is how he says it's going to get paid for.
It's George Bush.
Well, I will say one thing about Obamacare, and one of the important, instead of making a blanket statement, one of the important things is pre-existing conditions, okay? And why is this important? Because the number one killer in the U.S. and in the world is heart disease, okay? And so for people who have prior heart attacks and prior strokes, it will enable them to get the appropriate medical coverage that they need.
Mike, I love you, and I think you're a great guy. I just want to say
Let's
this.
leave it.
Anytime the government's acting like the DMV, and the DMV is acting like they're going to be in charge of our health care, I start to get nervous, especially when the IRS is doing the collecting.
All right, well, when we come back, we're going to continue our grassroots citizen panel, and we're going to discuss principles in politics. Are the two compatible? And we're also going to talk about the spying of the NSA at the G20. Stay tuned. Welcome back, folks. I'm Anne-Marie Murrell, filling in for Rick Amato. We're back with our grassroots citizen panel, Ernie White with Citizens Against Agenda 21, Doug Sain, executive producer of 2016 Obama's America, and, of course, Mychal. I want to, before we get going, I want to ask you again, one more thing about Obamacare.
Okay.
With so many people in Arizona, one hospital had to close because of so many illegals that were on dialysis. What's the solution? What do you think, as a Democrat, what is the solution? How do we fix this? How do we prepare? Because there seems to be no preparation to even get us ready to conquer this.
Right. Well, I think it's one step at a time. You know, I mean, I don't think the expectations when Obamacare came about that it was going to, be implemented from day one, and then, hey, it's, the greatest thing that's ever happened. I think, everyone kind of anticipated the glitches along the way. Unfortunately, they're detractors, and, they've been able to seize the opportunity regarding the glitches in Obamacare.
3 years in the making? Didn't happen overnight.
All right. Well, we've got to move on. We're going to talk about the NSA. They were caught. It was once again, Edward Snowden has told us what we were supposed to already know, I guess, that the NSA spied at the G20 summit. Well, Barack Obama himself was there, and supposedly there was no threat of Al-Qaeda terrorism. Why in the world, Ernie? Why in the world was this necessary? Do we need to keep doing this?
Well,
what is this for?
I think the American people are not going to stand up for their rights, so they're not fighting against this. You just heard in Las Vegas, they now can hear everything you say with their new intelligent street lights. When I came here, I was watched by video cameras all the way from my house, all the way here, and I'm on camera right now. But again, the government's watching that. They're watching your Facebook. They're watching everything that you do. They're basically watching everything. And so no one's stopping them. Nobody's saying anything about it. And where are the citizens? And where are the men in this country? Where are the men to stand up again? We've been feminized. We're not doing anything about it. We're not standing up for our rights. We're not fighting. It's time for the men to start stepping up. All you women are doing all the fighting. Where are the men? Where are the men?
Hello.
Where are the men at?
How long have I been saying that? Doug Sain.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I'm telling you the truth.
Thank you.
I'm telling you the truth. You're going to lose this nation. You've already lost it. It's 95% gone. And I'm telling you, you've got no rights right now.
Well, speaking of rights, and another thing, Doug, I want to ask you, another thing that has come out with the NSA is that they were actually spying. It was 6 Muslim men. They were watching their online porn habits to try to discredit them.
Well, I don't know if they were searching for 90 virgins, but...
Well, I know. But, I mean, is this a slippery slope? Is this necessary? Is it going to help us? Is it going to hurt? What is this?
Well, as I understood it, the intent was to delegitimize these people for saying one thing and doing another, and certainly.
So we're going to hurt them by showing.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. The U.S. is going to go into Pakistan and say, "Hey, your leader has been watching porn. Believe us over him." That just probably isn't going to go too far. And frankly, I think what's more endemic is as Mychal was saying, or excuse me, Ernie was saying. What's the slippery slope back into what they're doing here in the United States? And why aren't we standing up for that?
What do you think about this?
Okay, first of all, regarding porn and the targeted Muslims, I think there are things that we don't know about. For example, Osama bin Laden, when he was caught and killed, he had a whole library of porn. Okay, so I mean, I think there's something that's going on, down below that we just don't know. Number 2 is the G20 summit. I think our security in the CIA and the DEA, whatever, every agency possible, they predict that the next attack is going to be a lone wolf. So, there could have been a lone wolf at the G20 summit, and the NSA has a right to protect. And
that isn't what they were doing.
And nowadays, I know, but you know what though? You have
20 members. Not
Ernie's talking about Ernie's talking about we lost this country. Okay, there is no reasonable expectation of privacy when you're dealing with phone calls, when you're dealing with the internet. Okay, it's called the third-party doctrine
of privacy when I walk out and just take my garbage out.
You believe Miranda rights, right?
Yeah, but you know what though? I'm an attorney too, and I think if you're going to bring up your rights, you're going to talk about right to bear arms. Okay, I don't see a militia staying out of your house right now.
Let's just have the cops just go in right now and go into all of our houses without a warrant, because guess what? It would make us all a lot safer.
That's very extreme.
No, it would make us all a lot safer if they did that, because if you could save one life by having all of our Miranda rights gone.
You know what? I'll tell you, I
was a judge needing to approve a wiretap.
Depends. That totally depends.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. No, it depends.
A judge doesn't need.
Okay, so let's go back. But let's go back in terms of what's enabled the NSA. Okay, you have the 1917 Espionage Act. You have which is way before our times. Okay, I hope. But you have the Patriot Act from 2001. Okay, you have like the Computer Fraud Abuse Act. So there's different acts that Congress, our country, has enacted, implemented to give the NSA.
Very specific about only for foreign enemies. It wasn't about spying on U.S. soil and U.S. citizens. And so
we have foreign enemies on U.S. soil. Okay,
but the Patriot Act didn't say that you could go ahead and you could, look, you still have to abide by the U.S. Constitution in terms of wiretaps and having a judge approve that because there has to be a proof of criminal intent. What you're saying is it depends. You don't really need that.
Well, because there's something called the third-party doctrine, too, and I think a lot of people are confusing some of the issues here. When you make
I gotta jump in here. We're gonna switch gears just a little bit. I want to talk to you. I'm going to show a clip right now, just to break this up a little bit, of Kanye West.
We don't got it like that. When I tell you only 7 black billionaires, look at that marginalization, and we feel like we happy because me and Rick Ross got a Maybach, or I got a Sprint outside, or a couple of us, or they put a black president. Man, let me tell you something about George Bush and oil money and Obama and no money. People want to say Obama can't make these moves or he's not executing. That's because he ain't got those connections. Black people don't have the same level of connections as Jewish people. Black people don't have the same connection as oil people. You know we don't know nobody that got a nice house. You know we don't know nobody with paper like that we could go to when we down. You know that could just put us back or put us in a corporation.
Wow.
Mychal, you're an entertainment lawyer. Real quickly, we've got just a little bit more time. What's your reaction to that? Is there validity in that?
My reaction is, wow. And did he just drop an album or something to create publicity? You know?
Doug, how about you?
Well, I think if he wasn't black, I think the question would have to be raised, is that hate speech, and would he have other sanctions taken against him? I mean, that's really malicious.
Ernie?
I'm not going to comment. Because I don't know where he's going with it. I mean, if he's trying to say that black people in this country, we don't have the same opportunities or didn't have the same opportunities as whites in this country, he has a point to that point, because when my dad was alive, came back from World War II, he still had to sit in the back of a bus. There was actually a sign that said, "Coloreds go to the back of the bus." He couldn't drink at the same water fountain. And my dad said when he came back from Japan, he said that the Japanese were actually free in this country, but when he came back after fighting and he was injured, he still had no rights. So there's two different sides to this, but what he's ranting about, I disagree with.
I do want to bring up one point about that rant.
But that rant I disagree with.
Well, he was talking about George Bush's oil money. The fact is, George Bush's net worth is 30 million, and Kanye West is 100 million. So there you go.
It's time for our country to start realizing that we've got to stop dividing ourselves between Democrats and Republicans and realize that if this country goes down, we all go down. And I'm tired about this racial issue. Yeah, you can see our color, but it doesn't matter. We're all Americans. And right now, we've got to fight for America. And no more of this racial nonsense, because, again, as I said, we're going to go down, either going to win this thing together or we're going to lose it together. But either way it goes, we're going to do it together.
Oh, real quickly, principles in politics. If it came down to your party going completely against every principle you believe in, are you willing to break ranks and vote for the individual?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's the country as a whole. That's the big picture. You know, to me, not the party.
Doug?
Yeah, absolutely. It has to be principles. That's what we all stand for as a nation.
And me, of course, I've already broken ranks. So yes, I would definitely vote for the individual. Again, if a Democrat were going to stand up and fight for the people, I'll vote for the Democrats. As soon as they stop taking away all the land, as soon as they stop pushing all these new rules and regulations down our throats, especially the EPA, I will start voting for a Democrat. Until then, I'm going to have to stay where I'm at, but the Republicans haven't done much better.
All right. That's it. What an explosive panel. That's all the time we have left. I want to thank my guests so much. Ernie White, Doug Sain, Mychal Wilson. Thank you guys very much for being here. And of course, thank all of you for watching this evening. And in the tradition of the great Rick Amato, I'll leave you with my own Morello Mio moment. Now that Thanksgiving's over, here's a little something to start out the Christmas holidays. Good night, and beware of giant snowmen.
Hey, snowman! Just so you know.
That is not a cute...
Holy
Woo!